ask you, do you know the difference between a healthy and an unhealthy boundary? Don't worry if you don't, because lots of people don't. In actual fact, I like to talk about healthy boundaries in terms of more strong boundaries and weak boundaries. That helps us get a better sense of what we're talking about here. Strong because that's what's needed. Strong because having a strong boundary gives you a greater sense of yourself, a greater sense of security. It helps you to feel empowered. It helps you send off a vibe to other people. Do you feel empowered right now? Do you have that sense of self, that strong sense of self? Creating strong boundaries in your relationship actually helps your relationship to develop and to help you and your partner feel very safe, because you're being clear about who you are and what is okay in your world. Some people I've come across have boundaries, and we talk about them like Swiss cheese. Some people have boundaries that are just too strong, and no one can get in and no one can get through. In fact, they even get stuck with their own boundaries. They don't know how to move past them. But most people struggle at some point in their life, and sometimes all of their life, understanding how to implement a boundary and even knowing what it is. So I'm going to give you some examples where boundaries are not strong enough. One example is saying yes when you mean no, or saying no when you mean yes. When you're saying yes or saying no when you don't actually mean it, in fact, if you're saying anything that you don't really feel, it's actually being dishonest. Now, if you're in a relationship, this is really crucial, because one of the major principles I talk about in relationships is full transparency, being open and honest with your partner. So if you're trying to please your partner or please other people, say in the workforce, that's not really going to work for you. Another area where not having clear boundaries or violations of boundaries can occur is when you're trying to read your partner's mind, not actually spelling things out, or when your partner expects you to be able to read their mind, not really expressing what they're wanting. Now, sometimes if we don't have strong boundaries or firm boundaries, there can be severe violations that can occur, especially in relationships. If your boundaries aren't strong, it leaves you open to being perhaps manipulated by your partner, or even worse, to abusive or aggressive behaviors from your partner. It's really important that you look at how to maintain them, which is something I'm going to talk about in the next video.